Hey gang, I'm Crossing Channel, and an interesting new trick has been discovered in Animal Crossing New Horizons. Now, this is a bit of a confusing one, and it involves a certain mechanic that was actually introduced within this game. This mechanic allows you to squeeze between tiny little gaps, and you've probably done it quite a few times in the game. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's honestly a pretty confusing little trick. But there's been something discovered that could actually let us know how this works a bit more and allow you to do more with your decorating in Animal Crossing New Horizons. So let's check this out. Now, this trick was actually discovered by the Reddit user Jasper Koo, who also discovered the bath glitch in Animal Crossing New Horizons within the latest update, so big credit to them for discovering this because it is honestly super interesting and also really confusing at the same time. Now, you'll notice I've got a little setup here. I've got two little pillars, one with something on top of it, and then two blocks in between. There are also two little gaps on each side that I could squeeze between, but I'll actually be able to squeeze between one of these and not the other, which is very strange. Now, basically, how this works is, if there is something on top of a cliff, like you can see this block is, you can squeeze between these little gaps. However, if there is nothing on top of the cliff, you can't. Now, this is really strange, and I don't know why it actually works this way, but this is a really interesting discovery, because it means that for a lot of people who want to make certain builds and designs in Animal Crossing New Horizons, and they want to have some tight spaces and still be able to move around, they won't be able to do that if they don't have anything on top of these cliffs like this. But if they do, it'll allow them to actually move between the little spaces, as you can see. I honestly don't know how Jasper discovered this. It must have just been a random discovery. It's certainly really interesting that they would decide to design it this way. Maybe it's not intentional, maybe it is some kind of glitch, but this trick will allow people, hopefully, to sort of understand how this little mechanic works, because it's definitely an important one in Animal Crossing New Horizons. When it comes to squeezing between things, this can be really useful because if you're making a very cramped area on your island, or you just want to fill a certain place with different items, it can be a good idea to have those little gaps so you can get through if you need to. But like you saw in that previous clip, if there is nothing on top of the cliffs, you won't be able to get by. So I believe that means that if you just have two items next to each other and you want to squeeze between them and they're on the floor, you should be able to squeeze between them normally. But if you're doing a kind of cliff setup like you can see on the screen here, which is very common on many people's islands, they have a lot of terraforming and cliffs, then you'll need to have stuff on top of the cliffs if you want to squeeze between. I know this is a very random concept and it is definitely really strange, but I thought it'd be fun to talk about all the same because it's always fun to me when Animal Crossing players discover something new. So yes, if you're working on any designs around your island, you might want to keep this in mind. The little squeeze mechanic is one of my favorite things in the game. It's just funny to watch the character go between two things like that with such a tight little space. But it can be really useful, like I said, if you've got a more complicated build and you don't have a ton of space. This setup is just a very basic example of it, and it'll definitely work with other items as well, so it's not just related to these blocks. It'll work with different things. For example, I tried it with the Festival items as well, and I'm sure it'll work with all kinds of different items that you can squeeze between. So yes, if you're working on any designs lately, this might be something to keep in mind. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments section down below. I know this video is a bit more out of the blue than my usual ones, but I thought it'd be fun to mention it since there isn't much Animal Crossing New Horizons news at the moment anyways. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you made it to the end, be sure to comment Bob's Gang so I know you did, and if you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like. You can also subscribe for more Animal Crossing content.